All right, so we are back with some more great Q&A from many of you in Sync Academy. This is a new feature that I rolled out a few months ago called Office Hours. You can essentially post any question you have about sync licensing, something you're confused about, something you've maybe heard conflicting advice on, and you want to maybe just get some further clarity from me. So this is only available to those of you that are in Sync Academy. If you are not in Sync Academy, I encourage and welcome you to consider joining us. We have some amazing new content that's going to be rolling out August 1st, which is going to be all about how to AI proof your production music, because AI generative models are certainly creeping into the world. They have some hurdles. There's some legal things that they're going to have to overcome in order to become a real threat to us. But let's not wait for that to happen, right? Let's sort of get ahead of the curve here. Let's do our homework early and let's really step up our game. Because even if AI never really comes into our world and never disrupts us for whatever reason, these new tutorials we're going to put together are going to jump up and increase your quality of music production no matter what. So you're going to be in a better, stronger position no matter what, even if AI never actually surfaces, never becomes the big thing that we have to kind of worry about, okay? So let's go ahead and just jump into these questions. They're going to be all different topics, all different areas, but let's see how well I can do just on the spot here. I haven't actually seen any of these questions yet. Let's go. All right, Guyman has a question. You mentioned in earlier videos that vocal tracks may consist of vocals only on the bridge or parts of the tracks, such as shouts or chants. Has that concept changed? No, I do think that it kind of always depends on the library that you're submitting to. So if I tell you guys, there's a way for you to create vocals on your production tracks without having a full vocal production in terms of you don't have to have verse lyrics, chorus lyrics, like kind of a hook, a full vocal production. That may be true for some libraries, but it might not be true for other libraries. So I'm just trying to push you guys in the direction of starting to think about including vocals in your tracks, whether or not it's going to be fully written with lyrics and a vocalist throughout the entire track, or you're just going to have like a little catchy jingle part on the choruses, or maybe some background oohs, ahs, chants, shouts, whatever it is you're going to put on there. Basically, always the rule of thumb, and this kind of goes for every bit of advice that I ever give you guys, is always the first place to look for the validation is the library they're going to be submitting to and figuring out from them. Now, I know that just looking at a library website, you can't always figure out exactly what they're going to look for, what they're accepting. If their catalog is made available, you get to have a lot of that insight. But I'm putting together a brand new service that will allow you to jump on a Zoom call with library CEOs to be able to ask them these specific questions. So hang tight. I think I'm going to be launching that service in August. So we have basically about a month now. So we're going to try to bridge that gap so that you guys know exactly what a library particularly could be really interested and impressed by, so that you're not wasting your time putting together a whole bunch of music that they say, it's cool, but we needed more vocals. We needed actually like lyrics and everything, right? Or you go down the pipeline of adding lyrics and going through all that work and they go, we like this, but we really just needed some backing vocals on the choruses. We don't have much use for full vocals, right? So getting that insight before you submit to a library can be really helpful. So I have that coming coming your way. So I will make an announcement when that one's ready, okay? All right, Sam, you noted creating a unique sound, adding human elements, and not making drone tracks as few of the many ways to stand out from AI. Yes, that's definitely some of the things we were talking about during Sync Up. Wouldn't you feel that a majority of supervisors will see tracks that follow these guidelines as less desirable when it comes to background music, as simplicity and anonymity is often preferred in order to not take away from what is in the foreground? Yes, in some ways, Sam, but my prediction is that as the AI generative models come online and are able to create instrumental cues like on the spot very quickly for almost next to nothing, very, very cheaply, I don't think I want to put you guys in a position. I don't think it's wise for you guys to stay in the position of constantly trying to compete with that and being like, well, I just want to be the background instrumental anonymous person. I don't want to have sort of featured placements. I don't want to try to get my tracks more into jingle or theme areas. I really want to focus more on the background. That's kind of the big shift that I've been trying to communicate on my channel here for the last 2 months. And so I think, it's not happening right now. So there's still obviously 100% human background generated music going on in TV and film. I'm still getting my royalties based on all the background instrumental cues. Essentially, that was like 95% of my career. So you can still do well with that right now. But I'm looking into the future. I made a video about this, that I'm looking into the horizon and thinking there might be an iceberg out there called AI generative music. And if that's going to basically creep in and come into be able to fill a lot of the background anonymous music that just sort of sets a tone, sets a pace, fills a little bit of a gap, I don't want you guys to have to feel like you have to compete with that, because you just won't be able to. I just don't see how anybody will be able to crank out music fast enough and is efficient enough compared to what, a generative AI model, running however many calculations it's running per millisecond. It's just not something that we can really compete with. So what we need to do right now is start shifting ourselves away from the anonymous background music and start thinking of ourselves as more premium sync artists, right? Or just an artist in general. And just sync licensing happens to be the place where you're aiming your art. But you really got to elevate yourself up into thinking, I'm not just going to be doing background music in this industry. I'm going to be doing more featured music, jingles, themes, really music that's kind of serving more of a functional role rather than just sort of the background unsung hero. So that's kind of where I'm thinking this is all going to take us. And that's why I made that one video not too long ago saying that a large number of producers are going to be wiped out from generative AI models, I believe, potentially, because of this very issue. So if you want to remain relevant, you have to kind of elevate your own, vision of yourself, and you have to increase your brand and not think of yourself as the anonymous background person anymore. Think of yourself as the artist on stage, getting premium, featured, very noticeable sync licensing placements. It really starts in our minds first of how we conceptualize ourselves, and then start to make those changes with your production music. That's definitely what we're going to be focusing on here in Sync Academy throughout the rest of the year. So stay tuned for those. Terry, I've been giving a lot of thought to your suggestion for how we can AI proof our music, but in particular, I've been thinking about your comment that we need to start thinking of ourselves as sync artists. Yep, that's what we were just talking about. I believe you even said that if we have vocals on tracks, libraries may even expect us to have a following on Spotify. I don't know if they expect you to have a following, but it's certainly not going to be a bad thing moving forward. And I think it's going to be more and more of an added value to them as you pitch your music to these companies. When I think of going down this road for myself with songs with vocals, a more low-key acoustic sound seems to best fit. This seems somewhat contrary, though, to the advice you've given in the past. Basically, it is better to focus on more energetic music. In light of AI concerns, do you think that producing energetic music might take a backseat to developing an artistic sound, or am I going too far down that rabbit hole? Would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, really great question, Terry. And this is sort of a complicated answer I can give. You're basically correct in that on both ends of this. So it's still going to be, I think, the more upbeat, energetic music that will continuously get the placements. So, but at the same time, if that means that you have to constantly keep going into that background instrumental anonymous person zone and thinking that you're going to outcompete an AI model, I would not go down that road. I would probably go in where your heart and your gut's telling you to go, which is that more stripped down, low-key acoustic sound. That's a little bit more simplistic. It doesn't mean, if it's low-key acoustic, doesn't mean it has to be low energy, though. You can still have some amazing, huge energy coming through your tracks. A lot of it's going to come through vocals. Obviously, a really great produced vocal and performed vocal track is going to be amazing, and it's going to provide so much energy and emotion, even if it's just on top of a single acoustic guitar or piano. So really think more, I think big, if you want to summarize everything I'm saying here, focus on the writing. Get better at writing, get better at producing your tracks, get better at writing your lyrics, your chord progressions, more creative, stretching the boundaries of what you feel is something that is sort of the acceptable, okay, this is what the production music models say I should probably do, or this is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. I think we need to stop thinking so much in these black and white formulaic terms, and we really need to start to stretching ourselves and going, how can I go into a really cool, interesting, unique, creative place with my music? And I think that's really where you want to go, Terry. So if you can kind of bridge that gap a bit where you create that low-key acoustic sound, but maybe you throw some amazing, well-performed vocals in there. You could even have some big orchestral drums hit here or there, have some amazing transitions, however it is you want to go. But definitely think about yourself, definitely as that artist, and focusing on what you do best, because no matter what it is, you got to go where you feel you bring the most value to this industry. So you will find a place for yourself as long as you're keeping true to that. All right, Ed has a question. There's a lot that goes on to releasing a song and monetizing it. For licensing purposes, how much involvement should we take when trying to get libraries to notice us, as opposed to trying to get fans and making money, release party, etc.? Yeah, it's a good question. And when you're asking me how much should we, well, are you talking about yourself? Are you talking about Terry? You're talking about Ben? Everybody's going to have their different priorities in life and what they really want to do with their music. Some of you really want to build up a fan base, and you think, I think I got music that could really resonate with a lot of people. I'm going to start to see myself as more of an artist. I want to put more music out there online, try to generate a little bit more of an organic buzz, start doing more content, cover songs, doing interviews with other people. I don't know. If you love doing that kind of stuff, do it, right? If your heart's saying, I don't really want to do that kind of stuff, I'm not into trying to build a fan base, I don't really like to do that stuff, then don't. Okay, so you got to kind of stay true to what's right and what feels exciting to you. If you're trying to build a fan base just for the sake of trying to get sync placements, you will bail out and hit a wall so fast, because you're doing something you don't really love doing in order to achieve a secondary goal. You should really just focus on exactly what you want to focus on. You can still be an amazing, original, creative, high quality artist in the eyes of a library. They can just come to your website, or your Real Crafter, or your disco site, or whatever it is you're shopping yourself. If they can feel the original, amazing energy and creativity you're putting into your music, you will be elevated as an artist in their eyes, even if you don't have the fan base, even if you don't have a lot of streams. That, of course, is all bonuses. That's definitely helpful. But at the end of the day, it's still about the music, right? Like, if your music is not that great, but you've got 100,000 people following you, if they can't put your music into their TV show, they're just going to say bye-bye. They just don't have any use for somebody that has music that's not that high quality, or maybe not relevant for them. So at the end of the day, it's still about the music. So definitely follow what your gut's telling you in terms of what you want to focus on, okay? Ben, if collaborating with another composer, does BMI send the percentage of royalties to us both after telling the library how much we are splitting, or is it up to us composers to split it amongst ourselves? Great question, Ben. Usually when you work with a library and the library says, hey, give us the information, the sort of names and the IPI numbers of the PROs that you guys are affiliated with, the PROs, if it's BMI, they will basically send that out to you separately. So you would get, let's say, 50%, and your co-writer would get the other 50%. So that's the usual way things happen. There are occasionally situations where a library will say, no, we don't allow any co-writers. We don't want you to, send us. I don't even know if I've heard of a situation like that, but it might be out there where they're like, we only want to work with people in our little wheelhouse, and we don't want to sort of open this up to anybody else. If that's the case, but you do have a co-writer, then it will be on you. You'll get 100% of the writer's share royalties probably, and then it's up to you to basically divvy that out and say, hey, co-writer, this is how much we earned this quarter. I'm going to Venmo you, whatever it is, right? So it's a lot more work to do it that way. Hopefully you can work with a library that allows you guys to just let them know directly, because when they create that registration with BMI now knows what percentages go to which writer. So great question. Monica, as a non-citizen, I can arrange with my local PRO to have the U.S. territory utilized by U.S., let's say a BMI. Yes, most people internationally do that. So then I have two different IPI numbers. How is this handled by the music library when they register my songs with the PRO? Which IPI number will they use to register my songs with it? Is it only the one from BMI? Yes. If you're working with a US library, they're going to want your BMI IPI number. So certainly give them that one. You can let them know, though. I would definitely let them know your situation. So obviously, if you're overseas working with a US library, let them know, and they say, hey, we need to get your IPI number. Tell them, like, always transparency. Never assume, never think that you're going to be overwhelming them. Just say, this is where I am. I have two IPIs. I have a local PRO I'm a part of, but I've also, designated BMI to be my US PRO. Here's the two numbers. Use whichever one you want. Which one do you need moving forward? I'll make sure I don't overwhelm you with that. So just always let them know. So in my experience, they usually just take the local IPI number, and then the PROs have a universal system that they can kind of communicate that way. So in this case, the song, if this is the case and a song gets placement somewhere outside the USA, let's say Japan, how will the royalties be settled? The cue sheet will have my BMI, so will the client in Japan forward the royalties to BMI, and BMI will forward them to my local PRO? Some of that stuff, I'm not exactly sure exactly how things get sorted out there. I do believe that if you have placements in the USA with BMI, outside the USA, I do believe, yes, that what's going to happen is, no, I don't, that's a good question. You should call your local PRO and ask them how this situation works, because I think every single PRO is going to have a different way that they handle that, because that's a very convoluted situation. You're right, that you had a USA track registered with BMI placed in Japan. I would imagine what's going to happen is exactly what you described, is that income royalty is going to come back to BMI. BMI is going to then communicate with your local PRO and pay you. But also, it might be true that BMI pays you directly. It doesn't actually go through your PRO. It might be that your local PRO only handles your local territory. So you should definitely call them and ask them to maybe provide some clarification on that. I don't know if I could give you a helpful answer on that. And then you're asking about BMI numbers. Yeah. So definitely ask them these questions. Yeah, you have a follow-up here. I just don't think I can give you an answer on that one, Monica. I'm sorry about that. But definitely call for everybody watching this, if you have specific questions about this kind of stuff, they will be the experts on that. I just can't keep up with every single PRO and how they handle all these situations. I'm sure they all have different ones. But I do know that the registration system that all PROs tap into is universal. So theoretically, things should be exchanged, information and royalties should be transparently shared and sent, overseas and transported, obviously directly and digitally. Of course, there's always errors, there's always things that go missing, and you never really know. So we've got a lot of problems in our industry, but definitely call your local PRO. I think they could help you out better than I could. All right, Mike has a question. I heard you say that AI is coming for us. I'm not exactly saying it's coming for us, but it's certainly going to be something we have to potentially compete with. But also on the contrary, that music supervisors probably wouldn't take the risk of using music that isn't cleared on all ends regarding copyrights and ownership. That's true. After all of your AI interviews, the AI research you've put in, I'm wondering if you feel your opinion sways back and forth on the pendulum. Copyrighted material may only be given to a human. Music supervisors need songs to be cleared legally. Why would a music supervisor overlook ownership and copyrights if all these legal cases surrounding generative music? It's a great question, Mike, and all of this is still not settled yet. So when you're asking, is my opinion going back and forth? Sort of. I just don't have a sort of solid, a flag in the sand of saying, yes, this is what's going to happen. This is where the legal challenges are going to be. This is what's going to definitely be our problem, or it's going to be our opportunity. I don't have those answers yet because we're still in the Wild West of this stage. So there's still laws, I'm sure, that are going to be updated. The Copyright Office is, of course, looking at all this stuff. And they just had a couple of these panels and these sort of open conversations with some of the industry leaders back in May, I think it was. So all this stuff is being hashed out right now. I don't really know. And none of us really do. And nobody has any sort of clear understanding of exactly what the implications are going to be of AI. But I think the foolish thing, and I see people doing this, and I don't understand why. I mean, I guess I do understand why. I still think it's just fairly foolish, is to say, AI is overhyped. AI is just not that good. That music is terrible. And dismissing it as if it's not going to be something that we have to potentially contend with and adjust our strategy. My philosophy with everything in our industry, because this isn't the first time my industry has gone through changes or had challenges, right? You always want to be the adult in the room to look at the potential threat or look at the change or look at whatever's happening and go, wow, okay, can I control it? Maybe there might be some laws and some copyright issues that get in its way. That's possible. But is it wise to just assume it'll all be taken care of? Is it wise to assume copyright laws will make those illegal or some law will make them illegal? Or is it wise to assume that production music libraries or TV and film clients won't use AI music because of these? I don't think that's a wise assumption to make. I would just think that that's a very irresponsible assumption to make, especially if I cared about my music career, which I do, and I know you guys do as well. So I say, let's get ahead of this thing. Let's assume the worst, prepare, let's I guess, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's what we should be doing. So assume that AI models will come into our industry, unfettered, cheap, easy, fast, everybody can use it, right? If that's the case, what can you do about it? What can I do about it? What can we do to put ourselves in a stronger position as that becomes a reality that we have to contend with? So that's what my philosophy is right now. I just assume this stuff can be. And if it doesn't, we're all going to be in a much better position after all of this, right? Because we're going to be better producers, more high quality producers. We're going to be thinking of ourselves as not just background instrumental producers, but really more artists that create high quality original music. We're going to add new skill sets into our tool belt. We're going to start adding vocals and more human recorded live elements into our tracks, right? That's what I'm putting together with those tutorials. So you can't lose with this strategy. That's my philosophy that guides me through all this is how do I have a strategy where I can't lose? You're looking at it right here. Everything I'm putting together, all these videos I'm putting out, you're looking at what I think is a strategy that we just cannot lose with. We're just going to take this stuff very seriously and prepare accordingly, okay? Pedro, how to break into music licensing by producing minimal tension music. Very similar to any other type of genre that you want to create. Essentially, you want to do your homework first. You want to go find high quality music libraries. That's what I provide for you guys in SyncEdge. If you're a part of SyncEdge, Pedro, go check out the library recommendations I put in there. I just released actually 2 new ones, July 1st. Of course, that new service that's going to put you on a Zoom call with library owners is going to give you even more direct insider access and knowledge to what these companies and people are looking for. But basically, as long as you feel like that's a quality library, they've been in business long enough, they've got a good track record of placements, and you feel that minimal tension music is highly served with their clients and it's not overly saturated in their catalog, then that's essentially who you want to start working with, and come to them with high quality finished music. No demos, no, hey, check this out. What do you think? I still think in some of these situations you want to have, especially for minimal attention music, probably having a full album is going to be setting you apart from the next producer that just gives them 2 tracks or 3 tracks and says, hey, what do you think? Should we work together? Granted, it's all about the quality of music. The 2 or 3 tracks can certainly get their attention and get them working with you, but that full album is just kind of an undeniable thing you want to get to them. So go through the tutorials here in Sync Academy and check out some of the library recommendations in Sync Edge. That's basically the best I can give you right now until that new service comes in August and you're going to have something more powerful. And last but not least, Sayako. All right, what happens to the writer share, publish share, mastering share? I have collaborated with 2 other artists. I have composed and produced a track. Collaborator 1 made the melody, collaborator 2 top lined. He wrote the lyrics and sang based on the melody that the collaborator 1 made. What do I do in terms of split agreements? Do I share? Okay, you're asking about like what percentages should we do? 33, 33, 33, or is it 50, 50? Because so you have to kind of make these decisions for yourself. I would say if you find that working with these 2 other collaborators made your track way better, way more high quality, it's something that you feel like, I don't want to lose these people. They have really, we've become like an amazing team together, and I think we can really do better if we all work together. You might want to think about splitting everything evenly, just because it makes everybody feel like they are equally a part of this endeavor. If you and the other collaborator who did most of the work do 40-40 and you give 20 to one, they might feel okay about that. Like, okay, this is what I'm getting. But they're going to know that you guys are getting obviously a lion's share of it, and they're getting a minority share. That might be okay with them. They might feel a little bit left out. They might feel like, I'm not like an equal part of this. So, it kind of depends on what you intend to do with these people moving forward. If it's a long-term relationship you want to keep, and it's something that you feel is definitely improving your sync licensing tracks and making your tracks rise up to a level that they could not be without these people's involvement, I say split everything equally. Really make sure that everybody feels equally involved. And if you feel, hey, that one person, they're taking the equal share, but they're not putting equal effort, give them some more work to do. Maybe they can handle adding some metadata to the track. Maybe they can handle printing out some of the stems. I don't know. See if you can figure out some way to sort of put a little bit of the burden on their shoulders so that they feel that you guys feel that everybody's doing enough work to earn their fair share. So I can't give you a sort of black and white, you should always do this or always do that. Everything's negotiable. It kind of depends on what you want to do with these writers and with these people. Now, if it's just like a one and done, that they're probably not going to work with you in the future, and you feel like, what, this is not somebody I'm going to be working with for, years and years and years, or for album after album after album. And this, I put in the most work, the second collaborator put in the second amount of work, and the third one put just a little bit of work. Maybe you want to just say, hey, I'm taking 50, that person's taking 30, and the third collaborator's taking 20 or something like that. I don't know. Whatever feels right to you and whatever makes sense in terms of giving people the proper incentives and the feeling like they are a part of this project fairly, that's really what you have to do. So I'm sorry I can't give you a black and white answer. You just sort of have to make that decision for yourself. So, but I trust that you will. You guys kind of have the common sense once you hopefully see an answer like this. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of your questions. We didn't have a lot of questions this time, but I definitely will do this again in a month or so. So we'll definitely have more questions. And I'm certainly going to be bringing on some new, amazing, high quality AI experts onto my channel. So definitely stay tuned for those. I think we're going to learn a lot more, especially about that new meta music gen model, about what that did in terms of how quickly things are progressing and what that means for us moving forward. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these AI videos and not getting so overwhelmed or pissed off by them or depressed by them. That's not my intention, of course. I really just want to make sure that we are staying ahead of the game and helping each other out and just keeping our eyes above the water here to find out what is in the future for us. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time.